red or blue issue. This is an American issue. Governor Abbott, great job.
I think they're doing the absolute right thing by standing their ground. They have every right to defend the sovereignty of their state.
The Constitution itself is the supreme law of the land.
The president is the one who has taken action to deal with this, while House Republicans do not.
If Joe Biden federalizes our National Guard, that would be the biggest political blunder.
My colleagues have spoken most eloquently about the problems that we're seeing, not only in the state of Texas, but across the country. And in my opinion, and I'm talking to the American public, this isn't a red or blue issue. This is an American issue. And the sheer numbers that we're seeing coming across our border every single day it's not only sculling the infrastructure from our small towns, but you're hearing the leadership across the country in the big cities, from New York to Denver, Chicago, they're begging the administration for help, And I want to stand here with my colleagues and say, Governor Abbott, great job. Keep it up. As they've stated, Texas will never back down. We count on the federal government to help us out as much as possible, and they have failed us in Texas. So Greg Abbott has stepped up and said we will secure our own border, and is doing so. So what does President Biden do? He sues the state of Texas, which he does all the time because we have the ability to stop the flow. President Biden can stand in the White House today, right now, and say secure the border, and it would happen. But he won't do it. He hasn't done it for the past 3 years, but now we're in an election cycle. And he knows the American public are asking for help. We're spending billions and billions of dollars on illegal immigrants coming across our border. The United States is on the top of the list with sex trafficking. Texas is one of the leading cities. Houston is one of the leading cities for sex trafficking. The federal government has said, we're not helping, so Texas said, all right, enough is enough. Governor Abbott, keep up the great work.
I think they're doing the absolute right thing by standing their ground. They have every right to defend the sovereignty of their state. And yes, we've seen massive numbers of people flooding New York City. We've seen crime, drugs, all that stuff is very significant, but it's also a fundamental issue. A country has borders. If you don't have a border, you are not a country.
Here with more, Texas Governor Greg Abbott. Governor, first, I applaud your efforts. You've been on this show many times. You've tried convoys. You have done everything humanly possible. So your state, with its constitutional right, has put up the razor wire. They take you to court on that. And now they set up a confrontation between your National Guard and federal border troops. Now, I don't think either side of that equation wants to be enemies. They're all on the same side, aren't they?
They are, and as you pointed out, and as Border Patrol Council and Border Patrol members have made clear to Texas and to myself, they want to have nothing to do with regard to tearing down that razor wire or tearing down the barriers that Texas has erected for one simple reason, and that's because they are working. Border Patrol says that what Texas has done to secure the border actually makes their job even easier. The only resistance we're facing is coming from Joe Biden. Know this, Sean, and that is Joe Biden is in violation of federal law that already exists. For one, he is not living up to his duty to deny illegal entry across the border. Instead, he's aiding that illegal entry. The second thing is he's not, once people do cross the border, he is not detaining them as he's required by law. Instead, he's giving mass parole across the country. Because Joe Biden is not enforcing the federal immigration laws, that gives Texas the right under that Article 1, Section 10 of the Constitution to defend ourselves from imminent harm or from an invasion. So Texas has every constitutional right in this case, and I believe when the sun sets on this, Texas will be vindicated and the Constitution will be strengthened.
Joe Biden has been aiding and abetting in the law breaking. Joe Biden, I'd even go further. He is violating the laws of this country. He is violating his oath to uphold our Constitution. I could put up on the screen, Title 8 USC 1324. It prohibits alien smuggling, domestic transportation. It goes into, every harboring illegal immigrants, encouraging or inducing, conspiracy, aiding and abetting.
Well, fair point, but also you're making another profound point. You listed all those different ways that the Biden administration has these duties and responsibilities. Because they're not just doing that job poorly, but because they have totally abandoned doing that job whatsoever, That is exactly what gives Texas our constitutional right for Texas to be able to act. So by Texas building the barriers that we have, by us taking the action to repel illegal immigration, we're fully authorized because the federal government has ceded or conceded the field of immigration enforcement, and Texas has picked up that duty, and we're the ones in self-enforcement. And let me tell you this amazing number, Sean. If you know where that park is, where Texas now has taken over and we've blockaded that park, that is an area where sometimes over the past year, there would be as many as 2 or 3 or more than that 1,000 people coming across the border a day. Yesterday, there were just 6 people crossing the border. All 6 of those people were arrested by Texas law enforcement officers. We have now cracked down and been able to staunch the flow of illegal immigration. Biden should want this replicated across the entire border. That's what Texas is trying to do as we speak.
I got to say one good thing. Your fellow Republican governors have been pretty amazing. They've all come to your defense, every one of them. And they're offering guard troops. They are offering razor wire. They're offering all the help. They understand that you're bearing the brunt of this, but they also understand that their states are also impacted by Joe Biden's open borders. And these people are unvetted, as I keep pointing out. And now Joe Biden's being encouraged to federalize your National Guard, your state guard. What happens if he tries that? What if that happens?
If he tries to do that, well, first of all, as you know, this is the #1 issue in America. Americans want a secure border. If Joe Biden federalizes our National Guard, that would be the biggest political blunder that he could make. And that's why I think he will not do it. That said, of course, I am prepared in the event that they do make such a blunder to make sure that Texas will be able to continue to secure our border.
You've heard from these former retired FBI, people in the upper echelon of the FBI warning that this is an invasion, warning that a lot of these people are, men that are of age that they could wage war on the country. What are the odds that from these countries that they're coming from that?
Well, so Sean, what you just said taps into the words in Article 1, Section 10, Clause 3, where it talks about imminent danger. We are in imminent danger because, as you rightfully point out, these are facts. And that is, there are people who are known terrorists who are coming across the border that pose an imminent danger, whether it be in Texas or some other state. Because Biden is not doing his job, that fully authorizes the state of Texas to protect our state and our country from that imminent danger.
Yeah. Governor, I applaud what you're doing. It's unfair that Texas has to go through this. I am glad that your fellow Republican governors have all stepped up and they're offering you assistance in any way they can. That speaks volumes about them. I hope the United States
Sean,
Senate
if
Republicans.
let me just say, say thank you to my fellow governors. Half of America now is standing against the Biden administration, also more than a majority of all the attorneys general across the country. Biden is not taking on Texas. Biden is taking on the United States of America.
You've done a great job, Governor, under very difficult circumstances, and everybody's pulling for you down there. Hang in there.
Thanks, Green. First, a whole high school in New York is having remote classes today because the building was needed to house people who came into this country illegally. So what is the president's priority in this case? Is it the migrants or is it the students?
So let me just clear this up a little bit. So yesterday, New York City informed us that as a precaution, they would temporarily relocate migrants staying at Floyd Bennett Field to a nearby high school. As of this morning, all migrants have returned to the facility at Floyd Bennett Field. And so anything specific as to the program and what decided to do and all of the specifics to that, I would certainly refer you to New York City for any additional questions.
But if a working parent had to call out to stay home with their kid today, isn't this Biden immigration policy literally taking money out of people's pockets?
So let me just say, I'm going to actually go back to your first question for a second because I think I do need to address that, which is, when it comes to education, migrants, the economy, the president deals with multiple issues all at once. That is his job. There are multiple things happening all at once. And as it relates to this particular question that you're asking me about in New York City, that is something that New York City needs to answers to. That is a process that they took, so they have to answer to that. And as it relates to migrants and what's happening at the border, look, the president has taken this issue very seriously by making sure that on his first day, which is almost 3 years, it'll be a couple weeks, it'll be 3 years ago, that he put forward a comprehensive immigration legislation to deal with what's happening with the immigration process, obviously, and also the border. And this is an issue that's been going on for decades. The system has been broken for decades. And the president is the one who has taken action to deal with this, while House Republicans do not. They get in the way.
And Hunter Biden on Capitol Hill today.
Oh boy. Here we go.
How big of a headache is that for you?
Hunter Biden is a private citizen. He is not a member of the White House, as you know, and I just don't have anything else to share.
But the last time he was on the Hill, he said the president was certainly familiar with what his son was going to say.
I did say that, and here's
So
and
is
what
the
I'm
official
saying
line
today.
that President
What I'm
Biden
saying
does
to
not
you-
help him with his business deals, but he does help him skirt congressional subpoenas? Thank you, John. Why are you guys making it easier for people to enter the country illegally?
I don't believe we are. Why do you think we are?
Well, you guys sued to cut razor wire that was put in place by Texas officials.
So that the Border Patrol could actually do their jobs, but keep going.
Well, you won in court, so now what? The Border Patrol Union president is saying the Supreme Court's decision is going to undoubtedly encourage more illegal immigration. Do you guys know better than the Border Patrol Union?
The Border Patrol needed access, and that's why we sued to get rid of that razor wire, so that they could do their jobs. And you know what would also help them do their jobs, Peter? More Border Patrol agents. There's an idea. And if you go back to the supplemental request that we put in, there's money in there for some 1,300 additional Border Patrol agents. We want to help them do their jobs. We want to give them more resources. And the answer we keep getting back from House Republicans is no, no, no.
Does razor wire work?
Does razor wire work for what? Does it work for the Border Patrol to allow them to have the access they need to be able to better process people that are trying to get across the border? I don't think so, and that's why we asked for it to be removed.
But what is the president's plan? This is happening just weeks after 300,000 people came into this country over the southern border illegally. The razor wire, officials down there think, was keeping some of them out. And you guys just sued and won to remove it.
On behalf of the Border Patrol, who needed to have better access to it. Look, let me go back to your other question, and I know I'm running short on time, so I won't filibuster here. But what's the plan? Please look at the stuff we've put forward. The immigration reform legislation that the president put forward on day one. The work we're doing in the region. Just last week, we had Mexican officials here to talk about how together we have and will continue to try to stem the flow of migrants. You mentioned the numbers. No question there's a lot of people trying to make that journey, but it's not just to the United States, it's to other countries in the world, in the region. We're seeing historic movement. Not since World War II have we seen this many people on the move in this hemisphere. And the Mexicans are really stepping up and trying to do more on their southern border to keep that flow going north lower. And we have seen in recent weeks some success at that. The idea that we don't have a plan or a strategy or we're not taking this seriously is just not borne out by the facts. And, you know, again, if the folks on the House Republican side are serious about border security, and they claim they are, then they should act on the supplemental request and, you know, let's negotiate this in good faith. The president has said he's willing to make compromises. He's willing to negotiate in good faith. So let's have that discussion.